Welcome back, everybody. It's Untap Your Go, and today we are going to be playing the Naya Adventures in Standard. So, if any of you saw my deck tech yesterday, this is the same exact deck list. So, if you want to skip ahead to the gameplay, you can. This I'm just going to cover and break down into more detail. So, what is this deck trying to do? Basically, adventures are creatures that were printed in Throne of Eldraine back in last fall, and they are creatures that come with a spell half and a creature half. So, if you can imagine, when you cast a spell half, they go into an exile zone where your opponent can't interact with them, and then you can cast them later on for the creature half. If you cast it for the creature half first, you don't get the spell half. So there's a give and take a little bit, but for the most part, they generate absurd amounts of value because they act as two spells apiece. So when you maximize on the number of adventure creatures that you're playing, even though we're playing a 60 card deck, we're really playing like almost an 80 card deck because we have so much versatility among all of these cards. So we have all 4 copies of Edgewall Innkeeper. This is iconic. You have to play all 4. If you're playing adventures, you should be playing it in green because of this card alone. And whenever you cast a creature that has adventure, draw a card. So it's whenever you cast, those creature doesn't even have to resolve, and it's going to draw you some cards, and it's going to generate you so much value throughout the game. Then we have 4 copies of Giant Killer. This is our cheapest adventure creature that we can cast, but it's an instant half isn't too bad. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. That's going to come up a ton in this format right now. So this is going to have plenty of targets, and being able to tap down your opponent's creatures so we can force through combat damage is going to be very nice as well. Getting into the 2-drop slots, we have 2 copies of Shepherd of the Flock, and this is in here specifically because we can buy back our permanents, aka Showdown of the Scalds. So once we resolve this, we can bounce it back to our hand and get back more value, which we will cover next. We have 2 copies of Masked Vandal. This is a 2-mana 1/3 with Changeling, has all types. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, you exile an artifact or enchantment your opponent controls. There just so happens to coincidentally be a ton of that too, and especially against the mirror match, our Masked Vandals can deal with our opponent's Showdowns of the Scalds, and our opponent's Great Henges, and our opponent's Embercleaves. It just hits everything that we needed to right now, so this is packing a ton of value in one card. We have 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze because a lot of people are playing some ECD, some Rakdos with Kroxa and Escape and everything, and this is just nice to be able to nuke anything on the spot when you need it to. And then in the 3-drop slot, we have 2 copies of Skyclave Apparition. This is a 3-mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent in your opponent's control with converted mana cost 4 or less. And when it leaves the battlefield, they create an XX blue creature token where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. So when you exile the creature or non-land permanent, no matter what, they never officially get it back, whether they deal with the Skyclave Apparition or not. So you can exile a problematic permanent like Heliod, or anything with Indestructible. This is going to take care of it. All 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant. This is like the premier removal right now, dealing 2 damage to a lot of creatures in the early game. It hits a ton of creatures, a ton. And it's just a big 4/3 that your opponent has to deal with. And when they do, they're taking damage for that too. Then we have 4 copies of Lovestruck Beast. This is going to create a 1/1 and for 1 mana, so it's nice to have it in your early game because it essentially is a 1-drop as well. And then we can also play it for 3, and it's a 5/5. It can't attack as long as it can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature, but it can block all day. It's going to slow down mono red. It's going to create bodies in the early game and the mid to late game, and it's a nice beater, and it reduces the cost of our Great Henge by a lot. To finish up the 3-drop slot, we're playing 2 copies of Kazandu Mammoth. Originally, I was playing all 4, but I do not like that the land comes in tapped, and it really made the mana a little bit awkward. But this creature half is not bad, so we want to play at least a number of copies. In the 4-drop slot, speaking of Showdown of the Scalds, this is basically a reprint of Escape to the Wilds for this deck, and if you guys remember that last standard season, Escape to the Wilds actually got banned because of how powerful it was in Adventures alongside Lucky Clover. This is basically just Wizards reprinting Escape to the Wilds right back into this deck, guys, so it's essentially the same exact deck as it was last season when it was busted and had to be banned. So I don't know if they're going to ban this card, they might not, but if Wizards had any idea of the impact that Escape of the Wilds had on this format, due to this particular archetype, Showdown of the Skulls is going to achieve almost the same exact effect, plus it has an additional benefit of putting counters on your creatures whenever you cast any spell. This card is bananas. Getting into our payoffs, we have 2 copies of Bean Boy to be able to search for lands, as well as having a big dumb giant on the late end, on the top end. Then we have 3 copies of Embercleave just to randomly beat down our opponent with our Kazandu Mammoth or our Lovestruck Beast and just chunk them for a ton of damage. And then we have 2 copies of the Great Henge. This is going to have its cost reduced by power among creatures we control. And when it comes down as early as turn 4, guys, we can play this as early as turn 4 in this deck. Taps for 2 green, you gain 2 life, and whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. So this deck has a ton of draw power. Like Showdown of the Skulls, the Great Henge, and Edgewall Innkeeper are going to buy you so much resources over the course of the game. And then having all the double spells and all of your adventure creatures, this deck just feels like unbeatable right now in the format. Like nothing competes to it in the late game. In the mid to late game, this deck definitely goes all the way. In the mana base, we have a mix of our basics, a mix of our duels, and then in the sideboard, 4 copies of Glass Cascade for early aggression, 2 more copies of Masked Vandal, more specifically against the mirror match, but it also deals with like Doom Foretold and other various artifacts and enchantments. 2 copies of Clothis to be able to exile stuff, gain some life back, accelerate our mana a little bit, and have a 4/5 beater. 2 copies of the Akroan War to be able to steal our opponent's creatures, force them to attack into a bad attack step or something, and then 1 copy of Elspeth Conquers Death to buy back our permanents, as well as exile things with converted mana cost 3 or greater. 2 copies of Ox of Agonis against mill strategies, and 2 copies of Battle Mammoth against control to protect our creatures a little bit and get some value. And that is Naya Adventures in Standard. So we're going to take this into the arena, see how we do today in Ranked, and go ahead and leave a like on today's video, subscribe and the bell for all that good stuff. I'll mention it again later in the video, I'm sure. Leave a comment down below if there's anything in particular that I missed in this deck list, or if there's anything that you would like to add or see differently. Also, comment down below anything else you guys want to see on camera in general. I take your comments very seriously. And with that, let's take this into the arena and see how we do today. All right, going into our first game against Gooba, and this hand is pretty nuts. So we're going to keep it. This is the second time I've ever played on the Kaldheim map ever since its release. What feels like a week ago. It's been a whole week, guys, and I played on this map twice. And it sucks too. This is a pretty map. I like it. I really like the colors. It's nice and cool. Really calms me down. Not a whole lot of clickables at all, but that's okay. That's not what this game is actually about. Think we go ahead and so our opponent definitely has removal. I don't think it's worth playing the Edgewall Innkeeper into our opponent potentially having removal. Alright, so they don't want to play anything. Discontinuity. Opponent countered it with a discontinuity. That's hardcore. Like that's severely hardcore. All right, so we're gonna Bean Boy first, and I think we grab ourselves an extra green, untapped, play our Edgewall Innkeeper, and let's see if it sticks for a turn. Outlaw's Merriment. That's pretty good. But we're going to play this for red. And I think we're going to go ahead and Bone Crusher our opponent now and play our Bone Crusher Giant. Alright, so if our opponent deals with our creatures in any way, we can draw into a Masked Vandal and get rid of their Outlaw's Merriment. Narset. Narset's pretty good. Discarding... Oh, okay, so he's killing the Edgewall. And we drew another one. So do I kill the Narset and just prevent them from getting resources here? Yeah, I probably have to. I really don't want to, but I will. Yep, so we're just going to go ahead and get that off the board altogether. And let's play our Edgewall Innkeeper again. I mean, we're still in pretty good shape. I mean, our Bone Crusher Giant's hitting for 10, so our opponent has to kill it. I imagine that they're playing like Storm's Wrath in this deck, potentially. Shatter the Sky. We're not going to block. It's definitely a board wipe turn. Yep. Makes sense. Well, we're going to go ahead and play our Beanstalk Giant. Alright, opponent. Dream Boy. Dream Baller. Alright, so we're going to kick down the Great Henge before our opponent has any chance to deal with the Beanstalk Giant. We're going to go ahead and equip this gigantic Beanstalk Giant. Get it. Get him. Get him. Really? Our opponent is very ballsy. Wow. So unfortunately, we don't have a third or a second green source to be able to double spell this. So I'm going to be greedy and play the Love Struck Beast half and just get a draw spell out of it. And that's a good draw. That hits Outlaw's Merriment. But, I mean, our opponent has to find... They have to find an answer, like, immediately. Gaining 5 life here is not going to matter. Okay, they're up to 8. And they give it up. How are you supposed to beat a Beanstalk Giant equipped with an Ember Cleave? How are you supposed to do that? So our opening hand is really good, but it's kind of slow. And we're up against a Loris deck, so this is, everything they play is 2 or less permanent-wise, so they're a very fast deck, probably. This hand's a lot better. We don't have the white source again. But that's okay. Yeah. I think we have to bottom the Henge. Alright, so we're on the play. So I'm actually going to lead off with the Kazandu Valley, just so I have 3 mana. Trying to work up to 4. Alright, Fabled Passage for our opponents. So they're off to a slower start than I originally anticipated, which is fine. We get to hold up our Bone Crusher Giant now and remove whatever it is that they play. Which really, I mean, I might just hold this up for Loris. In case I don't draw another one. Because, like, Loris makes their whole deck work. Snow-covered island for our opponent. And a snow-covered swamp. Pretty lands. So it's control. Still going to hold up that Bone Crusher. And we found a second one. We have a lot of red in our hand. I mean, if we draw into another Kazandu Valley, we'll be kind of in a lot of bad shape. But that's okay. Gotta hold up these Bone Crusher Giants. Probably gonna see a thieving whatever, Thieves Guild Enforcer or something, or Soaring Thought Thief. Damn, a little too big for our Bone Crusher Giant. I stand corrected. Oh no, so is that. Shoot. But always follow up with a Fabled Passage. It's like every single time. If you're playing Crab, Fabled Passage is always right behind it. So, unfortunately, our cards are kind of dead. I mean, if I draw into a 4th land, I could double Bone Crusher or Ruin Crab, but that's... that feels really bad. And there goes the Skyclave Apparition. That would have been nice. Love Struck Beast for us is not a land. That feels really bad. How do we beat this deck? I mean, I have to try to keep their threats off the board, but I can't because of that 3 toughness. So, I mean, I guess we Heart's Desire, we pass it up, and we can just hold up the Bone Crusher Giant for something else. Another crab. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That 3 toughness, man, that feels bad. Noah's probably in a really good spot right now because a lot of people are playing Adventures, and this Bone Crusher Giant being a pretty dead card in my hand for the most part. Really making me contemplate my life decisions. I think Mill is definitely in a good position. I'm going to try this out. Yes, yes, yes. Click next. Take all of the hits. We're down to 16. We have a Merfolk Wind Robber for our opponent, which they can just immediately get value and shut off our Bone Crusher. So I'm actually just going to point this at their face. Test the waters. We're definitely holding up something, like a Drown in the Lock, maybe. Yep. There goes one of them. Still no land. And we're already down to 34 cards. We haven't even committed to the board yet. Alright. Well, we're going to Lovestruck Beast and pass. About all we can do. Sure. Taking 6 mil at a time. 8 a turn total. The opponent only needs 3 more turns at this rate, and they have us. And we found our land, finally. Alright. So this is kind of awkward, but we're going to try to get in for 5. Yep. Opponent's obviously going to take it. They don't want to lose their crabs. Please resolve. Please. Damn. Last card would be a Drown in the Lock. That feels mighty bad. Mighty bad. Well, there's an Embercleave. And they buy their Loris. Play this down for green. I could Embercleave. I honestly feel like we need to hold up the Bonecrusher Giant, though, for the Loris. Why would you flash that in before my attacks? Sure. Well, they're going to be able to cast a permanent back no matter what with Loris. So I guess we get in for 5. He's going to try to block with the Thieves Guild Enforcer, most likely. And let's just Embercleave. Sure. Alright, so our opponent's down to 5. We're down to 18 cards in our library. We're in really good shape. Our opponent, like, can't attack anymore. Because they'll just die on the backswing. Sure. They get their Thieves Guild Enforcer back. That's perfectly fine by me. And we are down to 8 cards in our library. So we're going to go ahead and... Which one do we Bone Crush? I guess we just Bone Crush the Loris, honestly. Thieves Guild Enforcer is not going to do anything. We're not attacking with our 1/1. Opponent just takes it. They realize they didn't stand a chance. That was close. I almost conceded there. I almost conceded multiple turns ago because we weren't doing anything for a while. But as long as you hit your land drops, you're doing something. Going into game 3 against 80 baby, and our opening hand isn't bad. We have all of our colors. We have Lovestruck Beast. Double Embercleave, though, really sucks. I'm still going to keep it. I think the Lovestruck Beast alone is good enough. Alright. So we drew a Temple. Not bad. Another Lovestruck Beast off the top I'll keep. And let's get in for 1 damage. Oh yeah, this is great. This is great. Double Lovestruck Beast, double Embercleave. We're in business. So this is a Dwarf Berserker. Gives a creature haste until end of turn. Not the worst. Not the worst card by any means. We'll go ahead and get our white source down. And we're going to play our Lovestruck Beast. And we're just going to pass it up. Good old Bob Ross lands. Loving these pathways. These new pathways are so good. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Alright, so Dwarf. So we're giving Magda haste. I mean, that's actually really good. That's a really good interaction. Just being able to tap on a whim. What does this do? Tap an untapped creature. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, this isn't a dwarf. But it taps a dwarf. Okay. Alright, that's neat. That's a really cool interaction. I like that. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, we just Embercleave, I think, right? We totally just Embercleave. Thank you. Thank you for the free damage. Ooh, 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 ooh. Gonna give it to the beast. You got 1 mana. What can you do with it? Nothing. Nothing. Just taking chunks. Down to 6 already. Turn 4. Ugh. So gross. Opponent's thinking, what can you do? I imagine that their targets, though, are really, really good. What dragons are there in Standard? Corvold, that's a good one. Also synergizes really well with the treasures. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I like that. Huh. Very, very, very interesting. So, in response to the combat, he can tap the cavalry, create a treasure, sacrifice the cavalry, and this becomes a 6/6. That's still not big enough to deal with the Lovestruck Beast. So we go ahead and just push it in for 6 and see what our opponent does. Should have double blocked. Definitely should have double blocked. Yeah, because you're still just dead. If our opponent double blocked, they would be down to 4 instead of 0. Oh, okay. Alright, wait a minute. Okay. Alright. I see you, man. I see you. So we still kill the Corvold. But we're only doing 5 to our opponent now. They're down to 1. Probably going to reveal a Bone Crusher Giant in the mix. And we did. And we did. Alright. Alright, opponent. And they're missing our land drops. Oh, no. Jund Magda, though, everybody. Very, very interesting. As soon as I acquire more copies of this, I plan on crafting this in Historic and maybe build it around, like, Bladewing the Risen and, like, Drakuseth. I think that could be a really cool deck. I'm not going to lie. I really like this card. And I see what their opponent's doing. Having the abilities to just tap freely so you can generate all the treasure seems really strong. Ammerstorm Predator is another good dragon. Can also tap itself instantly. Wow, this opponent, 80 baby 92, man. If you ever catch this video, congratulations on this deck tech. I really like it. It's a very good deck. I'm very sorry about how everything played out though for you, all things considered. Is opponent doing all this in response? Just for the lulz? Okay. Good game. Opponent said, I'm not going down without a fight, but I have nothing. Going into game 4 up against Delirium Channel, and I like this. So we're going to keep this. We don't have our white source just yet, but granted, we don't have any white permanents or spells to have to play, so I think we have a pretty good opening hand. Okay. A 1/1 Stone Coil Serpent. Well, I think we just go ahead and kill that now. Get in for the 1 and pass it up. Every time I see a Stone Coil Serpent, I just get, like, anxiety thinking about Tybalt's trickery. Like, I just imagine it's just going to come down on me at any point and rain on my parade. Do you want to trade? Didn't think so. We're going to play this down for our second green source, and we're going to go ahead and play our Lovestruck Beast. Next turn, we can play the Great Henge, followed by another Heart's Desire. Assuming our opponent doesn't do anything about the Lovestruck Beast. Bean Boy's not too bad. Alright, opponent's still at 3 mana. Yorvo's pretty good. Okay. Well, I guess before combat, we'll go ahead and play the Great Henge. And then let's just go ahead and offer. Yep, opponent doesn't want to take it. Let's go ahead and play another 1/1. Pass it up. Turn 4, everybody. Turn 4 for us, pretty good. So our opponent has 7 mana. Wow, Beanstalk Giants came down pretty soon. So soon, in fact, that it's actually really not that big of a deal. Embercleave off the top? That would have been sick. That would have been absolutely gross. Alright, so let's play out another Lovestruck Beast. This one becomes a 6/6. Ooh, Masked Vandal's not too bad. Not going to help a super ton right this second, though. I don't think our opponent's playing anything you have to worry about. They might be playing, like, Garrick's Uprising. But I think just going wide seems correct here. Alright, let's offer a trade. They don't want to take it. I would have, at that point, I would have killed the 5/5. Because now they're just facing down an army. Alright, they have 8 mana, potentially. Toski, huh? Oh, that's pretty cool. Alright, well, let's start off with a Bonecrusher Giant. See if we can draw into an Embercleave. Welp, good game, my friend. Well, we're just going to put it over our Lovestruck Beast, I think. Deals the absolute most damage. Good game. Good game. Right, going into our 5th and final game already, up against Christian Fields. And our opening hand is really good. We're missing a land, but if we can find our 3rd, we're guaranteed to find our 4th with the Beanstalk Giant. So I think we keep this. Every game we've led off with a Lovestruck Beast, we've won. Could be speaking too soon, knock on wood. But I'm going to assume that we're in really good shape against whatever we're playing, as long as we find our lands. Alright. Well, let's play the Scavenging Ooze. Go ahead and attack. Awkward. Okay. Seems good. Awkward again. At least it's a land. We found our 4th right off the top. Okay. We're still in really good shape. We already got our opponent down to 15. They haven't committed anything to the board yet. Solemn. Is this mono black colorless? That's the real question. I think we'll go ahead and play this out for a green. Yeah, and I think we honestly just start Beanstalk Gianting. Just grab some sources. We actually need our white sources. So we'll go ahead and grab that. Hopefully we can draw into a second. Not have to use our other Beanstalk Giant for it. Solemn. So 3-6. They're already 2 lands away from having an Ugin. Sure. Yeah, get that damage, man. Get that damage. Blood Chief's my token. Okay. Well, this actually isn't really a bad draw for us. Yeah, I don't mind playing this. We'll go ahead and target this one. Let's get rid of Scoos. That's really good. That's really, really good. We already have the double red. We have triple green. So we're going to Beanstalk for our second white source. And then we'll just pass it up. And now, 1 land away from just dropping Beanstalk Giants and then equipping these with the Embercleave. That's going to be really good. Rankle for our opponent. Wonder what mode that they choose. Probably Sacrifice. We lose our 1-3. They lose their 2-2. I would have attacked with 2-2, I guess, if they're going to sack it. Test the waters with the mental mind game that I might not block and get free damage. Who knows? Yeah, especially since our opponent was going to just sacrifice a Solemn anyway. I mean, even though we worked really hard for the double white source, I feel like we might get rid of that. I don't know. Probably Showdown. Even though Showdown finds us cards, Skyclave Apparition deals with Rankle, and that's probably really important right now. Okay, an Edgewall Innkeeper for us. Not super bad. We're going to go ahead and Apparition that Rankle, though. Three mana left. I could play the Edgewall and then Lovestruck to draw, but I think we play Lovestruck Beast first. Blocks the 4/4 that they'll get back from Rankle all day. And we can play our Edgewall Innkeeper next turn to allow this to attack, and that should be enough to get Embercleave down. And then that would be 12, 13, 14 damage, assuming that they tap out here. I mean, they have Ugin. They could probably play an Ugin here. Oh no, just straight up murder. So what? Our opponent is playing like mono black, kill everything. Pretty cool. Faceless Haven, I probably would have used as a blocker. Edgewall Innkeeper A. Okay. Well, I mean, since we didn't do anything else this turn, we're definitely just going to Embercleave. Okay, so I'm down to 9. Play out our Edgewall Innkeeper, and then if we find a 7th land, we can start drawing off the Beanstalk Giants. But already as it stands, we're hitting for 7. It's a really weird way of layering the cards, huh? Hello, puppers. We're almost the video's already almost over, and I didn't even say hi to you yet. Hello. Destroy all creatures. So wait, what? Oh, okay, so he gets his Rankle back from the grave. Oh no, are we just dead now? Shit. And we didn't get a land? Oh no, are we just dead? Uh-oh. I mean, if we don't play a creature, we're dead, because it's exactly 8 with the draw, lose a life. Oh, wait, but they have the Faceless Haven. Oh, good game, opponent. Dang, that Blood in the Snow. Blood in the Snow, man. That's a magic card, guys. Costs us a little bit, but Really strong. Destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers for 6 mana. And then return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of snow spent to cast this spell. Makes sense. I was wondering why they got their Rankle back and the 4/4, but they must have reanimated a Rankle from the graveyard, and they have a Tegrid. Really? Our opponent... Okay, well, our opponent gave us a turn, but we're still super dead. Still very, very, very much dead. Yeah, that's pretty good. Ew. Ew. If it goes to the graveyard from anywhere? Or okay. Ew. Ew, that's such a strong interaction. Well, we found our Bean Boy. Doesn't matter, though. Our opponent gets to sacrifice everything. They're not going to kill us. They're just going to play with us like food. So we're just going to go ahead and scoop. Welcome back to the wrap-up, everybody. If you made it this far, that means you've watched my entire video, and thank you very much for that. It means a lot to me. It helps the channel a ton. To finish off the video today, we went 4-1. Pretty strong finish. Not undefeated. We almost went undefeated. That last game was close. But overall, the deck is incredibly strong, guys. Showdown of the Skulls did not show up as often as I would have liked to in this video, but trust and believe, this is basically Escape to the Wilds in this format again. Exile's the top 4, Escape to the Wilds, exile the top 5, and you got to play an additional land. This doesn't let you play a land, an additional, but you can still play lands off of the 4 that you draw, and giving the creatures you control counters every time you cast a spell. The card is really good, guys. If you have the wild cards, craft this for sure. It brings this deck back to life as if it wasn't already stupid good already, but Great Henge put in some work. Bean Boy almost did it for us. Embercleave won us a few games, I believe. Lovestruck Beast seemed to be the MVP of the entire video. It's probably one of the best creatures in the entire deck. Our Giant Killer didn't show up at all, and when it did, we couldn't cast it. But overall, the deck is very fun. The mana base could afford maybe a little bit of tweaking, I guess. I don't know. I might have been a little too light on the white mana for all the white spells in our deck. But definitely give this deck a try. I'll leave a link down below in the description for you guys to import it and try it out yourselves. Please leave a like on today's video and subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff, guys. It really helps the channel, and it means a ton for me to know that you guys like this content and all that good stuff. With that, I'm Rob, aka On Tap Your Go. It's been real, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.